Jackson County 911, where's your emergency?
Oh my God, we need help. Please come.
Where are you at?
Hurry, please.
Where are you?
We're on, oh my God, Weight Room Road. Side by side is lit. Please hurry.
Say a side by side is clear?
Yes, this is really bad.
Can you tell me how many people are hurt?
I don't know how many people's here. There's at least 3 in the side by side.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Alright, I've got help on the way, alright?
Okay.
my accused money and could no longer have any financial aid, and I could not continue my educational journey in college.
Due to me driving, I got charged with vehicular manslaughter and ended up going to prison.
I lost my volleyball scholarship and my internship.
I lost my life and, well, before it even started, actually.
I lost my track scholarship.
I was innocent, but I live with guilt for the rest of my life.
I was drinking on the side by side, and I lost. My parents are gonna kill me.
Hello. Are you guys trying to stay in school all summer, or are you guys about ready? You guys ready to be done with school? Okay. Are you guys ready to be done with school soon? They need some more days. Add some more days. Hey, on a serious note, so who was it that went to prison? What was it, Bryce? Listen, bro, Bryce, you're too pretty to go to prison, bro. Like, it's not good. Hey, seriously. Hey, on a serious note, I like to have a good time, like to have fun. But before we talk about the presentation, I know you guys got cut short on your mock presentation out there and all that. Whether I'm talking to people that are incarcerated, whether I'm talking to students in the school, I spend a lot of my time talking to people and going and trying to encourage and motivate and just try to serve other people. One thing I know to be true, listen, hey, I ask you guys this. I know you guys are done, kind of ready to be done today. Let's listen to the program today, because if you've ever met a person in your whole entire life that is 100% on your team, I'm that person. There are people in this school that are for you guys, but like I promise you, I've simply came here because I want the absolute best for each and every one of you guys. Everything I speak about is going to be from a place of truth or experience, right? Listen, well, you got a brain rot, I guess it'd be like no cap, right? It's all going to be true. But I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my story, because if you don't know who I am, I'm just some dude that showed up trying to tell you what to do, right? Does that help anybody? No. Nah, man. But I believe if you guys will listen, you'll know that I'm for you, and maybe you'll learn something today, and even better than that, you'll take knowledge and actually apply it. See, I had this principle laid on my heart one time going to talk to some middle school kids in Harlan County, and when I turned on 119, I kept thinking about, if I went in that school and I wrote every one of those kids $1 million check, that'd be pretty sweet, right? Like, that's all right. But the principle that I was thinking about, the concept, was that's only good if they can cash that check. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper. And so what I can tell you guys is knowledge and experience that other people have, it is very, very valuable to any person that'll receive it and then actually apply it, right? Because knowledge, knowing what to do is good, but if you don't ever actually do it, it's not going to affect your life in any way. So I'm from Clay County. Anybody know where Clay County's at? Yep, look. Hey, I ain't mad at you, bro. You're from Jackson County. I'm cool with that. Look, y'all my people. Hey, I understand, man. Sports are tough sometimes. I know all that. What I do know, listen, I'm like 100 years old, man. And what I've learned in the amount of time I've lived is we have way more that connects us than ever separates us, if we choose to see that. We're all in the same boat called life. At the end of the day, we're all trying to figure things out, trying to make it. So 100%, man, I didn't go to high school in Clay County because my family, and I'm going to tell you some more about it in a minute. I was just sharing it with a couple of your teachers. In middle school, my mom went back to federal prison. In middle school, I ended up in Southern California. That's why I didn't go to high school in Clay County. So in my family for generations, it was normal for them to bootleg, to grow marijuana, man, to do drugs, to sell drugs. When I was growing up, as a young man, my mom was teaching me that fighting was how you solved your problems. Anybody ever heard anything like that? Somebody pushes you, you push back, all that kind of stuff. And so, the only reason that I was born was because my mom made it out of prison on early parole, only to go back to prison by the time I was 2 years old. Listen, man, you're looking at somebody that's been around the judicial system, the court systems, addiction, every single bit of it their entire life. And so by the time I turned 18 years old, I lived with 5 different families in 3 different states because of choices that I didn't even have any part in making. Let me ask y'all a question, and I already know the answer. How many of y'all understand that, like, there's a lot of problems in our communities, not just here in Jackson County, not just in Clay County. How many of y'all understand, like, drugs are problems, man? And people going in and out of jails and prisons, that's a problem, right? That's a normal thing in our communities, and it shouldn't be that way. And so, my name is Josie Cruz. I'm the Prevention Program Coordinator for Operation Unite. And so the whole reason I do this job is because I 100% believe this is what God has prepared for me. I believe I'm standing right exactly where I'm supposed to be today, spending some time with you all. And every point of my life up to now has led up to this point. I think this is exactly what my purpose is. So, when I went to high school, everything came easy for me. Grades were easy. School wasn't really hard. I was an athlete. I had a full scholarship my senior year to play basketball and football at the University of Redlands in Southern California. Voted most likely to succeed by my classmates. But the problem was, man, I acted like a child, and I was really, really messed up because all the things I went through, I wasn't talking to nobody about nothing I'd been through. Anybody here have some stuff that you're dealing with that you ain't talking to nobody about? Look, some of y'all too Sigma. I forgot you're too Sigma to raise your hand. My bad. Everybody's good, right? But listen, because I never dealt with those things I went through, it became the very lens that I looked at all of life through. And so instead of going to college, I spent a decade of my adult life becoming a drug addict and the person I said I wouldn't be when I was sitting where you guys are. If you ever met a person in your life that was never going to do drugs, it was me when I was in high school. That's the truth. But I made compromises. I looked at high school as like a part of growing up was going and partying and drinking and doing all those things and, man, whatever you want to call it. And so we look at those things like they're a stage in life, right? Like a lot of people look at it like that's just part of growing up and being in high school. But here's what I've learned. Looking backwards, seeing it clearly, look, all those things are choices. That's not a stage that we have to go through in life. Those are choices that we make for ourselves. And I can tell you, 8 years ago, I reached a point in my life because of my choices where I was living in a car, was a drug dealer, was a drug addict, was a thief, was every single thing that I said I would never be. You want to know what addiction costs you? You want to know what compromise costs you at the end of the day? Every single thing that you hold true about yourself is what you give at the end of that road. That's the truth. And so I'm not here to preach at you about it. I'm here because I believe 100% I was saved from that life that I had burnt to the ground simply to come and encourage you guys to do better. Look, not to judge you, not to be mad at you for making mistakes, because listen, we all do that. Even adults and make mistakes. But what I would challenge you to do is do this. Man, start lifting people up instead of tearing people down. You know how you rise in life as a person? By lifting other people up along the way. Not by putting people down. And so, how many of you guys understand? Life's pretty hard for a lot of people, isn't it? It's plenty hard enough without us making it harder on each other. And whenever we've been through some things, though, unfortunately, and we're holding them in, listen, usually we end up taking them out on the people around us, usually the ones that care the most about us. And so, I always want to think about what I would want somebody to say to me when I was sitting where you are. And it's this, man, if you do anything in life, start making a difference in the people's lives around you, and you'll find that you'll have a richness in your life, man, that is worth something. So that's the truth. I spent my whole life being selfish up until about 8 years ago. Man, somebody came into the jail I was at, man, I had crazy charges. I shouldn't be allowed to come talk to anybody, let alone students, but because I saw God's love in a jail cell, and it became real in my life, man, now I'm trying to make a difference in other people. And that's what I needed to hear. Like, man, you guys should lift each other up. Change the culture in your life and in this school. Look, man, we won't need any mock crash simulations because people, man, will be holding each other accountable and loving each other, man. Raising the standard. And it's important for you guys because, man, life's going to start happening faster and faster for each of you. That's the truth, man. And the world is very, very messed up, and the world desperately needs you all to be those people that you were made to be. Those good intentions that every one of you have of being a good person, having a good life. Listen, Jackson County, Clay County, Madison County, every place you go needs you all, as your generation is, to be better than what mine's been, because we've made a mess, man. So that's really what this is about, that you guys find your purpose and make a difference, man. Right? Don't compromise and trade it for something that don't amount to anything in the first place. Partying, drinking, doing all that, taking risks like that. Man, there's no upside to it. It's all loss. It's all loss. And so you guys are too valuable for us to not talk about it. So we're going to do a presentation today. It's called Life with a Record. Listen, up until last year, I was a convicted felon. The judge decided to be merciful to me and remove that from my record. I'm talking from experience. I'm not saying I'm proud of who I used to be, but I can tell you exactly what it's like because I was that person. But I'm not anymore. Today, I'm a father to all four of my children. I coach Little League Baseball. Man, I get to go and do jail ministry and encourage other people, help people get into treatment. Man, any way I can help, I get the privilege of serving other people now. So don't be like me where you have to go down the road I went down before you ever get a chance to open your eyes and do the right thing. Start doing it now. Start making a change today. Start being the person you want to be today because, man, we always choose who we're going to be each day. So, we're going to learn a little bit about the judicial system. We're going to watch a few videos. I'll try and make it as quick as possible. Listen, I know you guys are ready to be out here. But y'all need to learn some of this stuff and understand there are real consequences.
Two teenagers accused of a deadly hit and run. Two teenage boys face terrorizing charges after police say they made a verbal threat against Covington High School.
The teenager, they say, tried to rob a man at gunpoint.
Police in Bartonville arrest 3 teens. They're all accused of burglarizing homes and vehicles.
2 18-year-olds accused of robbing and killing an elderly Indiana couple.
10 Laval teenagers were arrested and now face child pornography charges. Police say they were exchanging.
We need to change the videos. I understand it's a little old. We just brought this back out. But here's the thing, man. Like, even when I was your all's age, we said the same kind of stuff that you guys say for real. Like, man, how many of y'all here have been like, bro, I'm built different? Anybody ever said something like that? Look, we thought the same stuff. Listen, I promise you. I love using that one because that's like, if you're not careful, or if you're like I used to be, you'll start believing your own nonsense and start thinking somehow you're like Superman or something. Like, yeah, it ain't going to get me. I'm too smart for that or whatever. The truth is, listen, I've watched it in my own life, in my best friends' lives, and people I've buried because of addiction, and all places in between. And the people that started talking like that and started believing that, they thought they could take risks that destroyed other people's lives, and it wasn't going to affect them that way. I'll tell you what. You do the same things that destroyed other people's lives, it's going to destroy your life too. That's the way it works, man. None of you are above the choices and consequences. But every year, man, our juvenile detention centers are full of kids, man, thinking that it wasn't going to be them. They thought, man, I can drink and drive, or I can send this thing an inappropriate picture, or whatever it was they've done. They thought it wasn't going to happen to them. But once they're in that situation, it doesn't matter anymore.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm going there.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because there's rules in this house and you keep breaking them. Hand over the car keys.
I'll look crazy around there.
Well, I'm sorry, you're not going.
I'll still be there.
Well, you can just use your little phone and you can text them and tell them that you're not going to be there. Give me the keys. You need to learn. Choices have consequences, Corey.
dogs are out and the streets are gray. You know I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, your mother's words, they're ringing still.
Everybody put your seatbelts on, act cool. I'll do all the talking. Don't worry. Oh yeah, I forgot. Look, I'll get in huge trouble. You won't get in as much.
Are you sure I won't?
Ah, you're 15. Just put in your first response.
You're not 18.
Look at this situation. We ain't talking before.
Sinister kid, 'cause they can't prove take promise to me, baby. The job that's spread from the day he's born, straight to take fingers on, and that's
Hey, they weren't good, were they? Who can tell me the moment he snuck out of the house? Which, listen, you guys probably don't even know what sneaking out means. None of y'all probably ever done it. But, you know, when he got in his mom's car and he stuck the keys in the ignition, who knows what he could be charged with? Grand theft auto, yeah. Just because it's mommy's car don't mean it's his car, right? What about at the party where there were obviously older people there and younger people there? Man, contributing to a minor, endangerment of a minor, all kinds of things. And then even when they got pulled over, what did he say? He said, man, I'm 18, I'll get in a lot of trouble. You won't get in as much trouble. Man, I've been with some people like that before. Yeah, they care more bit to lay their stuff off on you. That's contributing to a minor also, right? So, we're going to talk about two classifications of different charges. Some of you are probably more familiar with this than others. But your main two categories are called felonies and misdemeanors. Can anybody tell me what the major difference or define the difference between them?
One's serious and one's not so serious.
Yeah, one's less serious than the other, right? The consequences are not as much. So, a misdemeanor is a lesser crime. Really, a misdemeanor's maximum punishment, it can be a fine all the way up to 1 year in a county jail. So that's 360 days is what they actually call that. Some examples of misdemeanors: underage smoking, underage drinking, different drug paraphernalias, careless driving, different types of DUI. So these are felonies. So felonies start out right where a misdemeanor tops out, right? The minimum amount of time you can get for a felony charge is 1 year, all the way up to life or the death penalty. So one of my favorite ones to talk about is abuse of a teacher. Who can tell me what abuse of a teacher is? Anybody? What is it?
Knocking their teeth out.
So first off, yeah, what you're talking about is a whole other thing, man. You're talking about you're going to prison for a long time. They're going to make an example out of you. But abuse of a teacher, now let me explain it to you. You need to understand. Because you can be charged with this. It applies to you guys. If Mr. Jones or whoever comes in today and tells you to put your phone up and you don't do it, and he gets a little sideways with you, he's like, listen, you're going to put your phone up or else, and you don't really like the way he's talking to you. Man, he disrespected to you or came at you wrong or whatever you want to say, guess what? You get up and give him a piece of your mind and you get an attitude and you're aggressive with him, you can be charged with abuse of a teacher. It's not actually touching your teacher. Like if you lay your hands on your teacher, it's a whole nother conversation. So it's important to understand these. I have a friend because he was running from the police on a four-wheeler. He's a convicted felon for violating graves because when he did a donut, he threw gravels on some graves and they charged him with violating graves. It's crazy. You think that he thought that doing that was going to cost him to be a convicted felon the rest of his life? Absolutely not. So felonies, serious crimes. I mean, listen. There's a lot of things that happen, consequences of having felonies on your records. We'll talk more about it in just a second. But everything in the category of felony is more than a year of imprisonment or worse. So here's some examples. Theft by unlawful taking, trafficking. Do you guys know, look, do you know if you have a prescription for Adderall and you just give one to one of your friends because you're trying to be Sigma or whatever it is, you're trying to be cool, bro, whatever you're trying to do. Look, hey, you can be charged with felony drug trafficking just for giving one away. You guys understand that? Y'all need to know. Robbery, grand theft auto, obviously those things, any kind of... What about carrying a concealed weapon? Who can tell me what that means? So she said when you're carrying a gun but no one can see it. That is true, that is one form of that. But actually carrying a concealed weapon is if you have anything that you've concealed on your person with an intent to hurt somebody with. If you have a stapler you picked up off the desk and put it in your pocket to try and hurt somebody with it, that's actually a concealed weapon. So it's a lot broader than what people think, right? You need to understand that those are still considered the same crimes. So this is the one, listen, when we're talking about drinking and driving, let me explain something to you guys. Every single teenager that we've ever lost because of a drinking and driving accident, they 100% thought it wasn't going to happen to them. Had any time any one of them thought getting in this car with my boyfriend or getting in this car with my buddy or whatever is going to cost me my life, do you think any of them would have actually gotten in the car? Think about it. So listen, there's some of you that have already been doing this. Like, I already know how it is. I'm not coming in here oblivious to that. Some of you have got away with it without consequences. Well, you know what the problem is? The more times that happens, the more likely you are to get crazier and crazier with it. Man, look, you get careless. Just because it worked yesterday doesn't mean that there's still not that risk and that consequence that's going to happen. It ain't worth it. So, child pornography. Listen. You know how many middle school teachers right now I know are prosecuting kids because of, man, Snapchat and all the stuff y'all do. It's Snapchat, bro, I know. Come on. Look.
Oh, dude. Oh, man. This is crazy. Show me, man. Come on. Alright. I'll send you. You gotta look at one more than just send me. This is crazy, man. Oh, man. That is hot. I know, right?
It's a little dramatic, the sounds are, but hey, listen. Hey, you guys laugh if you want to. There are kids right now that have lost their whole entire freedom because of doing what some of y'all are doing. Like, man, I'm not telling you, I'm not judging you for it. I'm not saying none of that. But I do have a job to at least let you understand. You guys can change your whole entire lives with one picture you send. That's the truth. That's absolutely real. Just because you got away with it, man, I'm telling you, there's serious consequences for it. Bullying. I'm sure that's never happened here at Jackson County High School, right? So, under Kentucky's laws, this is how they define it. They define bullying as harassing communication. So we'll get a little more information about it. So, the main thing that you want to know right here is at the bottom. Part C. If you just communicate with any other student or any other kid in the district or any age level, and the sole purpose of your communication is to embarrass them, to make fun of them, to belittle them, to harass them, scare them, threaten them, anything of that nature, if the only reason you've communicated with them was to do one of those things, you immediately can be charged with a crime that has up to 90 days of juvenile detention for you guys. Unless you're 18, then you can get a misdemeanor and go up to a year to jail.
Lawyers for 3 Massachusetts teenagers to answer the charges in a shocking case of bullying.
They're accused of harassing 15-year-old Phoebe Prince for months until she couldn't take it anymore and killed herself in her South Hadley home.
18-year-old Alex Reno, seen here on the left, is charged with statutory rape. 17-year-old Kayla Neri in the middle is charged with criminal harassment, violation of civil rights, and a disturbing a school assembly. And 17-year-old Sean Mulvihill on the right faces those same charges as well as statutory rape. Prosecutors say the suspects were part of a larger group of teens at South Hadley High School in Western Massachusetts that relentlessly bullied Phoebe Prince for 3 months. Phoebe hanged herself in her home back in January after a particularly rough day of bullying. A total of 9 teenagers are facing charges in connection with Phoebe's death. 3 more are scheduled to be arraigned on Thursday. Erin Kennedy, Eyewitness News.
So that whole story, anybody ever had to change schools before? That ain't always fun, is it? Like, especially when you're first going into the school, you don't know anybody, you don't know what it's going to be like. So this girl had to change schools because her family moved. They came into town. The first guy they talked about, she met, man, he's like, man, I'm your friend. I got you. And so he did what he did. The moment he got her to do what he wanted to, dropped her. So then the other guy came in. By now you know what they're saying about her in school, right? Calling her names, talking about her behind her back. Same thing happened with the other boy. And then the other girls jumped on the bandwagon and just kept riding this girl and she took her life. Listen, there's a lot of teenagers, a lot of people, man, that I talk to that act like bullying ain't that big a deal. Man, I didn't mean nothing by it, I just said a thing. But every single one of us in here, or at least the majority of us, remember something mean and hurtful that somebody said to us. That's the truth. Whether you admit it or not, look, some of y'all back there, you're too tough, I understand, but it's all right. But anything that causes somebody to think about hurting themselves or others, we 100% have to admit that that's a problem. That's a serious problem, that anything that's going on that can cause that to happen in anybody's life. We can never let what happened there happen again. Like, it should never happen. So, man, quit tearing people down. Trying to build yourself up. It doesn't work that way. So, obviously, these are 2 options. Look, anybody in their right mind is going to choose the bed over the left option, right? Listen, hey, I can tell you guys, I've been incarcerated before. That picture on the left is a gross misrepresentation of what it looks like. It is like, that is not what you get. It's something way worse than that. You have your toilet and your sink in the same spot. It's all right there. You don't have to go anywhere. So a lot of kids, too, think that if they get in trouble before they turn 18, that your record kind of restarts when you turn 18. It's not true. It'll follow you. Listen, employers will know what you did. They'll see your record. Schools, and when you're applying to go to schools, anything like that, they'll be able to access any of the things that you guys do, whether you're 18 or not. So, juvenile records are not automatically expunged. Like I said, schools, employers, any law enforcement, anytime they check your name, you have to do background checks for almost anything you do. They'll know all those things. So here's some consequences. When I first got in trouble in 2015 was when I got in serious trouble for the first time, I decided I was going to try and change my life. I was going to go to the military. I went to the recruiter's office in London, took a pre-ASVAB, scored a 90 on it. The recruiter was like, man, I want you. But the moment he found out that I'd been in trouble, guess what that meant? I had no options. I lost that opportunity by decisions that I made without thinking about what it was going to cost me. You can't enlist in the armed forces, you cannot possess a firearm, and even more than that, like, you're not even allowed to be around firearms in your buddy's car or any of that stuff. You can't be licensed. I know, like, even if you're going to be a real estate agent, if you're going to be in any of those kind of fields, they usually have an ethics board that has to approve you being licensed, so it can cost you any kind of licensure. And you can lose government aid, SNAP benefits, things like that. So, here's what I'll tell you for sure. Because I've been in situations, anybody in here ever done something you really didn't want to do because, man, people pressured you to do it? Come on now, look. Look, hey, some of you guys are like me, you're a crash dummy. All somebody has to do is say, man, you're a sissy. If you don't, you're going to go do it. Whether you want to or not. So, before you get into a situation, listen, this is solid advice. Before you get into a situation where you're going to be given an opportunity to make a bad decision, man, you need to be prepared for that. If you're going to a place where people are going to try and get you to drink and you don't want to drink or whatever it is, like if you don't have a made-up mind, it's a lot easier for people to talk you into doing or pressure you into doing what you shouldn't do.
I was charged with a felony B. I really wasn't heading in the right direction. And I realized the things that I've done, the choices that I made wasn't smart. After I got arrested and I got took to jail, that's when I realized my freedom was gone, my family was gone. I had no more friends because I woke up in the cell, clueless, didn't know what was going on. In a tiny cell there with no windows, a bed, and a steel toilet. This is me telling you, man, to do the right thing, that you don't want to be in the position that I'm in because it's not cool and it's not right. And it will take your life away.
So how many of you think he was seriously trying to help by making that video? Like, you can tell he's sincere about it, right? I'll tell you a little bit about his story. So when he says he woke up in jail, he actually is one of the few people that's telling the truth about that. He was out with some friends, or at least who he called friends, and they decided to get some Xanaxes. Listen, because his buddies were doing it, guess what he did?
He did it.
That's right. And so while he's passed out in his buddy's back seat, they decided to go and rob a store. Guess what happened to him? He got charged just like he was in the store with him. So he literally woke up in jail with no understanding why he was even in there, with all these charges. And so a judge decided to give him an opportunity, because he was a minor still, and they didn't want to destroy his whole life. And they gave him a chance. He went to the Challenge Academy, where it's like military school and all that kind of stuff to turn his life around. And so when he got out after the 6 months of that school, he did good for a little while, but he started going back to the same friends. He started doing the same kind of things, and he ended up back in prison. Last sentence that he got, from what I heard, was 8 years. Listen, he had an opportunity. You're looking at somebody, and the point in all that is, you were looking at somebody in that video that at that point in time was set on changing his life, right? But he didn't, man. And it was his decisions. Look, it was the little things that led into the bigger things. I can tell you, since my life has turned around, all I've been trying to do is focus on being where my feet are and doing the next right thing. If I missed the last opportunity, I try to get the next one right. That's it, man. Because one good choice leads to another. That's the truth. Look, if you're just trying to sit on being where your feet are and doing the next right thing and making the next right decision, man, listen, life has a way of working out like that. But one bad choice works the same way. It could lead y'all to life with a record, right? It's dramatic, I know. But listen, all this stuff, I know it's not the funnest stuff to talk about. This is the hard one, probably the hardest presentation I do. But if you never heard anything else today, I need y'all to know that you met somebody today that's on your team. That's the truth, man. Regardless of where you're at in life, regardless of, look, I'm a recovering butthead, man. I promise you, I'm not looking down my nose at any of you guys. But I 100% want the best for y'all. Man, I want you guys to have better choices than what I had. I want you to have better opportunities. And I want you guys being safe. Man, there's a way to be safe and still have fun. Like, you don't have to go and do crazy stuff to have a good time. And so, as you guys are enjoying your time tomorrow, listen, high school, man, it happens fast and it's over with, and all these memories, they're going to be great, but make sure that you don't make a bad choice that costs you more than you want to pay. That's the truth. And definitely don't let other people push you into doing things that you don't want to do in the first place. Seriously. Stand to be who you are no matter who's in the room. And my real challenge to you guys is start changing the culture here. Start lifting people up, man. If I could go back to high school, that's the one thing I'd do different. I would treat people around me so much better. I would try to make a difference in other people's lives. I promise you, try it and you'll understand I'm telling you the truth. Listen, hey, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all giving me attention. Even the knuckleheads, listen, man, you're my people too. Hey, you guys have a good day and have a good weekend.